Good morning, everybody, and maybe for some people it's good evening or good night. This morning I am having a conversation with my dear friend Mary Jane Roy, and this is a special edition for the Let's Humanize the Workplace, where each month, Mary Jane and we are going to have a conversation about what it means to go to thrive in the workplace. And Mary Jane, I'm handing it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. Yeah, hi everyone, and some of you may know me that have signed in for this session. My company is Creating Waves, as you'll see in the name tag I have, and I started back in 2011, really focusing on stress, resilience, emotional agility, and everything that sort of surrounds that. Met Vivian back in 2018
I
and
think it
no,
was 17.
2017. It was 17. It was. I did double check on that. And we started, yeah, it just clicked between the two of us. And we've become, as she said, friends since then and colleagues working
Yeah.
together in a variety of ways. Yeah, I love what I do. I work in corporates, primarily as trainer facilitator, advisor for these around these topics. And I'm really happy to be here. And
Yeah.
let's see what these conversations bring. And please, we welcome your questions as well. For those that are here that are live, yeah,
We welcome your
it,
questions, but also we
yeah,
welcome your insights. So whatever you
yes,
want to
also,
share, everything that it's positive and also constructive, right, will be added or will be shared. And for those of you who don't know me, I will introduce myself. My name is Vivian Acquah. As from now, I can call myself Certified Diversity Executive. And to make it simple, I am a DEI professional who supports organizations and managers and team members with amplifying diversity, equity, and inclusion from within. I've been doing that for quite a while now, and the show it's called Let's Humanize the Workplace, but this is a special edition because I wanted to have a conversation with my dear friend. I see her as my big sister, and we have amazing conversations offline or on the phone or through WhatsApp, where we share so many things, so many topics that we decided to do a monthly conversation about the things that we see and the things that we noticed. So if you have any questions regarding Mary Jane, connect with Mary Jane or connect with me and reach out if you have any questions afterwards. So to start off today's topic, I want to start with a movie. Just one moment.
Is to keep employees happy. Forget happy, they couldn't keep employees. They should have focused on keeping employees. No, this happiness is not nobody's kiare. It comes from within and not from we have 6 types of tea and 4 types of coffee, 3 types of water in our pantry. Some of the folks they laid off were so new they didn't get a chance to taste the 6 types of tea. And the company is wanting to be families. We are not a company, we are a family. Why? Who started this confusion between hiring and adoption? You did not adopt me, you hired me. Awards and recognition and appreciation, real families just take each other for granted, but don't let go of each other. And this company gave service awards, people who have given 20-25 years of excellence for company's continued success. A week later, they did not have access to the company's network. At the company offsite, we celebrated the company tripling its revenue in a year. What happened a month later? We are so poor. Who robbed us? But while it lasted, the company was a huge part of my life. Huge. Other than my government ID proofs, company name is everywhere. T-shirt, bag, water bottle, pen, notebook, cap, coffee mug, mask, weekend. Everywhere, company name. It was easier to forget my ex than it is to forget this company now. Next job, I'm going to bluntly say no to any company merchandise. Only package, no baggage.
You don't seem to be worried about your career. You seem really calm.
I am calm because I am a techie. And techies are calm because they know they will always have calm. Calm as in work. See, it's like you fire the cook from the restaurant. No problem. The cook can fire her kitchen, her cloud kitchen, anywhere now. Techies are cooks. We are agile. As long as there are apps and appetite, cooks and techies will have calm. We are the calm.
So you're not worried about ChatGPT taking your job then?
You have to stop saying this. You sound like that guy when the calculators were invented. Oh, calculators are here. They're going to steal jobs. Whose jobs? Those guys who can only add and subtract. Oh, even if ChatGPT can take away our jobs, it'll have to get in line behind geopolitics and pandemic and investors and shareholders. I lost my job because the investors of the company were not sure their investment will become 400x in the coming year. How will we go to Mars? Someone else lost job because the investors thought, if the other company can lay off 12k people and still work as usual, shouldn't we also try? Artificial intelligence can never overtake human paranoia and human curiosity. AI can only do what human beings have been doing. Only humans can do what no human has ever done before. Have 24,000 people been laid off in a year ever before? Don't blame technology. Yesterday's postman is today's delivery executive. Yesterday's sysadmin is today's cloud engineer. ChatGPT is not eating into our jobs. ChatGPT has already made a meal out of my 4-year engineering course. Universities will have to do a course correction now, pun intended. What is there to be taught after all memorizing has been outsourced to the robot? Creativity and how to use ChatGPT, the only engineering course.
What do you think should change about employment and hiring?
Oh, a lot, no? But let's start with making HR round the first round of the interview process. Don't ask me why I want to join your company. Tell me, do you know why you're hiring? And that YouTube ad that starts with, hey, is it your dream to join Manga Funga companies? That needs to be edited because we are no longer going to say dream and company in the same sentence. I'm not going to make that blunder. I don't want to be your employee. I just want to be your vendor. Hashtag open for work.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Even though, there is humor in it, and even though she brings it very lightly, there is so much to share about this topic where I've seen people dealing with just breaking up because they felt connected with their workplace, and they have all these merchandise. Somebody shared it online where she opened her cupboard and she saw all the cups, but it felt like breaking up with a loved one, with a relationship where she was laid off, and that's huge.
Yeah. And I think when we started to talk about this in a conversation last week, Vivian, you mentioned, isn't there a way that this could be done more compassionately? That with, the psychological safety that people, I mean, this is trauma, I think, I mean, it's certainly traumatic. Okay. It hopefully won't last beyond them moving to the next employer. But as this woman so eloquently shares, she's no longer going to be trapped into buying into a nice package, verbal package of, of we offer this and we're that to you, etc. She'll be in it for the money and the money only, from the sounds
Which is
of
a
it.
sad thing, though, because it's the way this breakup was handled, and that's the bitter pill that people are walking away with, and that's the bitter pill that she's sharing, and that's the bitter pill, like every merchandise that they have at home, it felt like it was a present from a loved one, and now every time that you look at that present, you'll be reminded of not all of the good things, but you're reminded of how the relationship ends. It's just like Maya Angelou's quote, it's not about what you say or what you do, it's how you make people feel.
Yeah.
And that is a quote that every company, every manager, every employee needs to live by. What taste or what afterthought are you leaving behind? And just to put things in perspective, I want to show numbers, right? I want to show numbers regarding the layoff. So this is a screen print that I grabbed. I think I grabbed it from CNN. What is happening as of late, right? And these are percentages. It seems a lot in some cases, but also it doesn't seem a lot because you don't know the number number of people that have been fired as of late,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just sharing the percentages, right? And to put things in more perspective, I noticed this post from Amy. Amy, thank you so much for putting this in perspective, because she made she posted it recently, and she gave these percentages a number.
Yeah. Yeah.
And imagine, behind every person that is fired, there is a family.
Exactly. Also, yeah.
And
The impact.
I'm not talking about the direct family as in, the family at home. Some families have extended families that they are taking care of with the job that they have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is staggering. I mean, that the word she uses is staggering, and
Yeah.
and I mean, a lot of these are happening in the U.S. A
Yeah.
lot of these layoffs are happening in the U.S. And we all know also the ramifications for someone that's out of work. Lack of health care, etc. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much more to this, and it couldn't there be another way? And I think we've found some examples of companies, and you mentioned one just now to me before we started the recording. Vivian, can you fill in on what Stripe has done as an example of good behavior?
Yeah. So what Stripe has done is really activating psychological safety, making sure that people are okay, because the fact that you are breaking up with an employee, or breaking up with a team, or breaking up with an organization, there is heartbreak involved, and in some cases, some people go to trauma depending on the way the breakup was handled, right? Because we could all remember a bluebird. I'm not going to give it name, but we can all remember how a bluebird, this company, shut people out of their emails like that, and then they received a letter saying that they were fired, right? So I want us to focus on what Stripe did, and then eventually also Facebook, Meta copied, took some notes from the Stripe, the Stripe letter. So when you Google CEO Stripe and the resignation or the email to the Stripe employees, this email contains the following, and I'm going to read it out loud. Stripe made sure that they apologized for the mistakes that they made, and they owned up. So the CEO owned up about it and was very transparent. In firing the people, they offered severance pay for 14 weeks, at least till February 21st, 2023. So it will end in a few days. Then they gave people the bonus for 2022, the annual bonus. Then they also made sure that they pay all unused PTO. On top of that, they made sure that they pay the cash equivalent of 6 months of existing healthcare premiums or healthcare continuation, which is a huge deal in the US. RSU vesting, I don't know what that is, but I assume maybe housing. If anybody can share more.
Maybe retirement savings. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna look that up. But on top of that, they are not done. They also did career support. Because not only are they firing people, but they are setting people up, connecting them with career coaches so that they can find a new job.
Yeah. That is a critical piece. That's a critical piece.
Yeah.
As well.
Setting people up for success, because this will be forever remembered when things are going well and Stripe is asking the people that they have fired back. People will look at it in a different light, in a different setting. Why? Because this is how they supported me.
Yeah.
And also, last but not least, sometimes companies, no matter where, they hire people from abroad. And it comes with having a visa. If you have a job, you most of the time get a visa grant. But if you don't have a job, that visa will be taken away. What Stripe did is provide immigration support.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can you say about this, Mary Jane?
I mean, it's mind-boggling. I knew they had done a
Yeah,
good job,
yeah.
I did read the letter of apology that they had sent out a few months back, um, but I didn't know that they had done such a comprehensive
Yeah.
package for the people that they laid off, and it was substantial. I think the numbers of people that they did lay off.
Yeah.
Um, and just to go back, to put things in perspective, Google on how many employees that Amazon has, and you see that 1% represents a huge part of that
Mm-hmm.
234,000. Is her name Amy? Is the woman
Amy,
that did that she quoted, and in that
Amazon
number she
fired
quoted.
18,000 people in January, more than 18,000. So just to
Yeah,
put that number
that's
in
just
perspective.
January, and that's just
Yeah,
January.
yeah. But the expectation is in total from December, in total it would be like 20,000 at all levels.
Yeah, yeah. And another, I think, an interesting point to bring up is what are the CEOs doing about this?
Well,
We talked about this, and the executive teams,
yeah.
etc. Adam Grant, and we don't have it here at the quote, but Adam
Mm-hmm.
Grant had a wonderful quote a few days ago
Yeah.
about the loss that companies suffer, and the last thing they should be doing is firing people. And what could executives do in order to ensure that at least some of the people don't lose their jobs? They
Yeah.
can't protect perhaps everyone, but what could they do? And there are some really good examples out there of what some of the CEOs have done. We found one, Vivian, earlier in the week. It was that he's dropped his salary down by 98%.
Yeah, but that is because he is a billionaire. So what Mary Jane is
Yeah,
talking
okay.
about is Zoom,
Yeah.
where
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
The Zoom CEO dropped his salary to a certain point where he still earns like $500,000 a year, but he also has enough money to do other things. But what he did was prevent the layoffs from heading to a direction where the numbers would spike.
Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
different way of thinking, right? That's definitely a different way of thinking. So,
Well, and another example is the Marriott CEO
yeah.
in the first year of COVID. He I'm not sure what his own salary, whether he eliminated it or also took a 50% drop, but the entire executive team took a
Mm-hmm.
50% drop in salaries to ensure that they could keep people on. And what they also did was they teamed up with another organization so that their people could also go and work, in another organization while the hotel industry was being, basically shut down. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and this is a quote. Thanks, Vivian, that you can
You're
do that.
welcome. You're welcome. And
Yeah,
how you let people feel, how you make people feel is very important, especially when if for me personally, it feels weird. You're firing people. I don't know if you have given them the option to reskill or so that they can apply to a different job ad that might be fitting for them so that they
yeah.
can, but you have all these vacancies open on the other side. What are
How
you
do you
doing
mean?
with that?
How do
Well,
you
the
mean?
companies are firing people at the moment right now. Some of them
Have you
have a
also
hiring
hired?
freeze,
No, yeah,
but some
yeah,
of them also have open vacancies left. And I'm just like, I'm baffled with, isn't there a way to place them in a different department or in different position? Of course, they have to agree, but for me, it feels a bit weird that you have all these vacancies open, but yet you fired so many people. Did you give them the option to apply to something else?
yeah. Did you do any assessments
Exactly,
to see
exactly.
where the person's strengths also lie?
Yeah,
And or
that's a
have they
valuable thing that you are sharing right now when
yeah,
doing assessment tests or granting people access to a tool where they can measure their strengths. right? That's also very valuable to give that as a go away gift for the people so that they can use that and use the outcome. I know it's a momentary outcome, but still it can empower them while they are mourning. It can empower them to think about the future.
Yeah. I had this conversation a number of years ago with a director in a Dutch company here, and they were facing at that time some major layoffs, and
Mm-hmm.
she was really struggling with
Yeah.
how to do this compassionately, and it was one of the things that I said to her, really, you know, have somebody sit down with a person, talk them through, find out, support them in
Yeah.
finding their skills, their strengths, etc. And I don't know if she ever did. I didn't,
Yeah.
that wasn't a conversation that we followed up on. And it was really between, you know, I was not there in an advisor
Mm-hmm.
capacity, but it came out over lunch that we were having together. And but I never did follow up with her to see if they started to implement that. And I know from the daughter of a friend of mine who's in a major HR position, this is something that she does offer people when they're leaving,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sure they're getting. Now, maybe it's not feasible in a massive layoff, but then we have to even question, are the massive layoffs really
Yeah.
needed? Yeah, what else could be done?
And also
Um,
be open about. So I want to also share a little bit about the letter that the CEO shared, that he wrote in that letter. Most importantly, CEO of Swift, he said that most importantly, while this is definitely not the separation we would have wanted or imagined, when we are making hiring decisions, we want everybody that is leaving to know that we care about you as a former colleague and appreciate everything that you have done for Stripes. In our minds, you are a valued alumni. See what he's doing there?
mhm. Yeah,
You are
he's creating
forever
connection.
Stripe.
Yeah, yeah,
In service of that, we are creating an alumnistripe.com email address for everybody departing, and we are going to roll this out to all former employees in the months ahead.
hmm. Yeah,
Just this, the best way of breaking
yeah,
up as
yeah,
friends.
yeah.
Have respect for each other, have love for each other.
Yeah, and if Stripe can do it, what holds others back? Maybe I don't understand enough of it, and I'm sure that when you look at all the stakeholders, and
Yeah,
that in many of these companies, it's shareholders and shareholder profits,
yeah,
etc. But when it's balanced out against human life and this kind of trauma that people
yeah.
experience as a result of, um, can't the profit suffer for a smidgen of time?
It doesn't it
In the
doesn't
big in the
have to
big picture?
it doesn't have to suffer if you are strategic about it, if you are human about it, if you include psychological safety in it, right?
Hmm.
Because now people are supposed to do the people who are left behind are supposed to work harder, put more
Hmm.
stress and over deliver.
Yeah, and also be scared that their job is the next one to be
Yeah.
eliminated,
And it damages in a way the psychological safety. So I wanted to address that one. Whatever you do when it comes to a layoff, make sure you are transparent. That's one. The other thing that adds into transparency is be honest. Own
Yeah,
up. Own up about your mistake. Don't make that mistake of hiring somebody or firing people and 6 months later or 1 year later, you're getting a big bonus within
yeah,
the management or within the
yeah,
boards,
yeah,
because your bonus could have saved a few jobs. Be timely. Communicate as soon as possible, but also offer the benefits or the special things, the special care, let's say a special care package, right?
yeah.
A layoffs care package. That will be valuable. And admit your
That
mistakes.
would be valuable for sure.
Admit
Yeah,
your
yeah,
mistakes, because along the way, certain decisions have led to where they are. Own up about it. Show your vulnerability, but also, last but not least, show where you are going to improve. show where you are going to improve, imply a growth mindset,
Yeah,
because
these are really
everybody
good tips, Vivian.
falls. But what do you do after you have fallen? Are you going to lay down and say, okay, I'm going to fire 10,000 people and that's it, and I'm safe? Or what is the lesson that you can learn from this, right? And also for managers who are dealing with a situation where upper management or a CEO, the board of directors have made a decision to cut. I want to be there for the managers as well, because you are going through a tough pill. You are swallowing a tough pill, which means that somebody have decided about your team, where some of the team members are gone, or maybe your team is not existing, or you have to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and pick and choose the people that have to go. And that's heartbreaking, especially when you have a good relationship with your team members. It's heartbreaking.
And let's face it, I mean, managers get a bad rap,
Yeah,
but there are a lot
they're
of good ones
human
out
too.
there, and they're human too.
Yeah,
That's
sometimes
exactly
it
right.
doesn't
So,
seem that like that, but that's because of their position and their role and so many other things that comes along in it. But with, with the sessions that I've held, with the conversation that I have with different leaders, board of directors, they're human too.
yes, yeah, yeah. Well, I love the tips that you've given. I think they're really critical,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that who's ever listening to our conversation here, that take them with you and
Yeah,
somehow plant the seeds in your own
yeah,
organization, even if it's subtly sneaking a list of these onto the right person's desk, the CHRO or whoever, but
yeah.
there are things that can be done, and we don't need to, it business doesn't just go on as usual when you've impacted the lives of so many people.
Exactly.
And as you said, behind every one of those 234,000 people is a family as
Yeah.
well. And
And
yeah,
people will remember,
it's
right? Now that we are people, we are dealing with becoming more social conscious, where
yes,
they sometimes call in and sometimes they call out. Whatever way they want to use, that's up to them. But know that Google remembers everything, and now we have ChatGPT also remembering everything and bringing everything up. So
yeah,
just adding it in there.
just adding it in, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's let's hope the worst of this is behind us, but there
Hmm.
will always be things happening.
Yeah,
COVID came along,
yeah,
supply chain disruptions,
yeah.
this whole tech fallout situation. Let's learn some lessons from this.
Hmm.
Learn, as you said, it's not just business as usual when
Yeah.
something like this happens. It should not be business
It
as
should
usual.
not be. And also make sure that you take care of the people that are left behind, right? Because it does
Mhm.
something with their engagement. And speaking of engagement, I do have the last slide that I need to share, because at the moment right now, and this is from a Gallup research that Gallup did,
Mhm.
this is the state of
Global.
engagement.
Yeah.
And this was done before all of the firing, etc. So imagine how the engagement would be if people are dealing with coworkers that are being laid off,
Yeah. Yeah.
dealing with a stress. Am I going to keep my job? Oh, I have to work. I have to overwork. And there's a lot of tension at home.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension at work. How am I going to keep my sanity? Oh, wait, I'm burning out. I'm burning out.
Burning out. Yeah. Yeah. This is, yeah. And I know that this is global.
Yeah.
And so if you look at your own country, if you go out to Gallup, and you can actually see country by country
Mm-hmm.
what the number of disengaged or unengaged
Mm-hmm.
percentages are.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. This is what I call, and I know it's not the official term, but it's what I call presenteeism.
Yeah.
The fact that they're there, they're earning their salary, but they're doing just the bare minimum to get by,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a reason for this, and the layoffs are not going to have helped
No.
raise engagement. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, this is shocking enough news that
If this isn't shocking enough, then I will add something more. For every manager, every leader, every person that is responsible for performance or for revenue, how can you move forward if this is happening? How can you activate new ideas? How can you innovate? How can people be creative if this is happening?
Yeah. And there's so much that you can do, so much that can be done in a workplace to raise
True,
engagement. And
true.
it's all on the humanized level.
I
It's
would say
all about
if you want to know
humanizing
more,
the workplace.
if you want to know more about what can be done, I would say have a conversation with us. Better yet,
Yep.
hire us for having that conversation and bringing in some strategy, because we both have been supporting, been advising different companies, international companies, small and big, and we know our way. Definitely with the years of experience that Mary Jane has, but also with my experience as well, coming from a DEI perspective, and Mary Jane comes from a resiliency perspective. We can both add value to how you can retain and how you can keep the existing workforce happy and engaged.
Exactly. Yeah. It's easier and more challenging than you think.
It's all of
Yeah.
the above. As long as the hearts are in it, it's all of the above. But we are
Yeah.
almost at the end. It
Ye-
was
Yes, it went so fast. It did. It did. It really did. Yeah. Yeah. Happy to be doing this again with you, Vivian.
Thank you. Any last thoughts that you would like to share, or questions or challenges that you would like to share with the people?
No, not really. I think I'm looking forward to our next conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and I would really like maybe that we focus next time on the psychological safety in the
Okay.
workplace. All right,
Okay.
something we
Yeah.
talked about before,
Yeah.
and maybe just to feedback into pick up this thread, but
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah. We are definitely
Yeah,
going to do a deep dive in psychological safety. And also, if there is a topic that you would like us to address or have a open conversation about, let us know, right? It's not the Vivian Mary Jane show. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be an interactive, engage. And next time, join us live so that you also can be highlighted. And whatever questions that you have afterwards, I'll make sure that both of us see it so that we can support you or guide you in the right direction. But this was a really good conversation, Mary Jane, and it went by so fast.
I know it did. It did. It did. Thanks so much, Vivian,
Thank
and
you,
thanks
Mary Jane.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Until next time. Bye.
Until next time. Bye.